Exalted has explained, so it is a wealth-based act of worship, while the prayer is a limb-based worship. He's saying fast in the month of Ramadan. This is the fourth pillar, that you observe fast in the month of Ramadan. It is a month in the year. The fast in the month of Ramadan is an obligation and one of the pillars of Islam. He's saying, and perform the pilgrimage to the house. This is the fifth pillar, the fifth among the pillars of Islam. The Prophet mentioned all the pillars of Islam, and the last of them is pilgrimage. Other hadith have explained that the pilgrimage is obligatory once in a lifetime for the individual who has the ability. As for the one who does not have the financial ability, the pilgrimage is not obligatory upon him. Allah said, and Hajj pilgrimage to Mecca, to the house Kaaba, is a duty that mankind owes to Allah, those who can afford the expenses for one's conveyance, provision and residence. The word as-sabil in the above verse means provision and means of conveyance, the provision that will be enough for him, and maintenance, and the means of conveyance which will take him there and bring him back in every time. According to the generation, that the means of conveyance could be a car or plane, or it could even be a boat. Every era has its own peculiarity. But if he cannot find provision and ride, the pilgrimage is not obligatory upon him. If he has the financial ability and not the physical ability, then that requires elaboration. If he hopes that the ailment and excuse will go, he should wait till it goes. Then he should perform the pilgrimage himself. If the excuse preventing him from going cannot go, like old age, senility, or chronic illness with which he cannot perform the pilgrimage, he should appoint someone that will perform the pilgrimage on his behalf. Whatever exceeds one is voluntary. Then he said, should I guide you to the path of goodness? In addition to the 5 pillars of Islam, since the entire religion is not restricted to the 5 pillars of Islam, however, those are the foundations. There are a lot of deeds that follow these mainstays, and perfect them all righteous deeds, whether obligatory or supererogatory, or compulsory and recommended deeds. He said, fasting is a fortress, that is, a screen between the servant and the fire. Fasting could be obligatory, such as the Ramadan fast, and supererogatory, such as the fast on the days. Evidences show that fasting could be observed. For instance, the 6 days from Shawwal, Mondays and Thursdays, 3 days every month, 10th of Dhul Hijjah, the day of Arafah, and the day of Ashura, a day before or after it. All of these are supererogatory fast. His saying, charity puts out sins as the water extinguishes the fire. Charity is also divided of 2 categories, the obligatory one, which is the zakah, and the supererogatory one, which are the donations towards good. Charity extinguishes sin, just as water extinguishes fire. So if you want to extinguish your sins, you should give charity to the needy. He's saying, so does a man's prayer in the middle of the night, then Then he recited the verse. Then sides forsake their beds till he reached. They used to do some prayers. Some prayers are obligatory, while some are supererogatory. The best supererogatory prayer is the prayer of a man in the middle of the night. This is because this is the time people sleep, and the time of serenity. It would be after sleep and rest such that one is heedful, having taken some sufficient sleep, so he stands up energetic. Allah the Exalted said, "Verily the rising by night for tahajjud prayer is very hard and most potent and good for governing the soul, and most suitable for understanding the word of Allah." The Prophet said, "The dearest prayer in the sight of Allah is the prayer of Dawood, and the dearest fasting in the sight of Allah is the fast of Dawood. He would sleep for half of the night, then he would pray during the third, and sleep in the sixth. He used to fast for a day and break for a day. He would stand in prayer during the third after midnight. This is the midway through the night, and it coincides with Allah's descending in the last part of the night. He combines between midway in the night and the last part of the night, the time of Allah's descending, so he combines between the merits whoever desires to attain. This reward should rise up for prayer at this time. He said, then he recited the verse, "Their sides forsake their beds," till he reached they used to do, meaning they performed the late night prayer and abandoned the warm beds during the winter comfortable beds. They abandon what they love and stand in prayer out of obedience to Allah the Mighty and Sublime. The fact that they leave their beds and rise up to pray is proof of the truthfulness of their faith and love for good. In addition, praying in the middle of the night shows a lot of sincerity because people are sleeping and do not see him. Then he said, "Should I not inform you about the most important of all matters, its pillar and its peak? That is to say, what combines all of these issues for you?" He said, "The most important of matters is Islam. Islam means submission to Allah through Tawheed, surrendering to Him with obedience and dissociation from shirk and its people. This is its definition with its 5 pillars that have been explained." He said, "Its pillar is the prayer. The mainstay of Islam is the prayer, just like the pillar of a tent and house. A house and roof cannot stand without pillar. In the same way, Islam cannot stand except with the prayer. If you were to perform all the deeds of Islam, with the exception of the prayer, your Islam cannot stand, just as if you get a tent pegs and tendons. Without providing a pillar, the tent should stand upon. You will not benefit from it. Therefore, it is essential to combine these things, and the most important thing is the pillar. And the prayer is the pillar of Islam," he said, "and its peak is jihad, making jihad in the way of Allah, the Mighty and Sublime, and that is fighting the disbelievers in order to raise Allah's word and wipe away polytheism and disbelief from the earth. This is because Allah has created mankind for His worship. He the Exalted, and I, Allah, created not the jinns and humans except they should worship me alone. So if they worship other than Allah, they should be fought till they return to Islam, and the worship of Allah, if the Muslims are capable of fighting them. But if they are incapable, they should be patient till they have the ability and opportunity. So they will fight them for their own benefit. The Muslims will fight the disbelievers for the sake of the advantage of the disbelievers, to bring them out of disbelief or to faith, from darkness to light, and from the fire to paradise. It should not be because of crave for them, or the desire to shed their blood or take their wealth. Allah said, and fight them until there is no more fitna, disbelief, and worshipping of others along with Allah, and every kind of worship is for Allah alone. So jihad is the peak of Islam because it indicates the might of Islam. The whole sinam, as it occurs in the Arabic text, can only be found in a healthy and strong animal. So that there is jihad in Islam is proof of the power of Islam, and abandoning the jihad shows the weakness of Islam. Then he said, should I not tell you what by which you can attain of all of that? I said, yes, O Allah's Prophet. So he held his tongue and said, you should control this. If you carry out all these deeds, beware of what nullifies them. And the most